Welcome to Partnerships for Profit, the podcast where we bring you inside the world of joint ventures, strategic partnerships, and powerful collaborations. Whether you're looking to expand your network, find new referral partners, or scale your business, you're in the right place. Let's get started.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Partnerships for Profit. I'm your host, Ana Del Rio, and this week we're joined by the Thyroid-Fixer herself, Dr. Amie Hornaman, a global voice in thyroid and hormone optimization. She breaks down why so many people are misdiagnosed, the real drivers behind fatigue and weight resistance, and how optimizing your hormones can transform your entire life. Thank you so much for being on the show, Dr. Amie. How are you doing?
Oh, Ana, it is a pleasure to be here. I'm doing great.
Oh, lovely. I'm so excited to actually get into talking to you because there's a lot I don't know about this topic. And I'm hoping that you're able to shed a light, not only to me, but also our viewers. So why don't we jump right in? Tell us about yourself, how you, got into this whole field, this specific niche in particular.
Absolutely. And we have to drop just one little intriguing statement for the listeners that did you know that fixing your thyroid and hormones can actually make you more money? So we're going to get into that too, as we light our brains up and get more motivation, right? So
Let's go.
I came into this world like so many of us do when we find a specialty and we find a way to help people through my own pain to purpose story. So this is going way back into my 20s. I was competing in figure competitions. So for the listeners that don't know what that is, take bodybuilding down a notch, keep it feminine, but the prep is still the same. I was still eating chicken, broccoli, asparagus. I went to the gym twice a day, had a trainer, the whole deal, because the goal was to get my body lean, keep my muscle, step on stage in a bikini and be judged, which literally sounds crazy when I say it out loud, but I had done it many, many times. We as type A's, we like the challenge. So love the challenge of getting prepped for a show, except this one time that I was getting ready. I was doing all the things, taking the before pictures, checking in with my coach, stepping on the scale. And every time I would get on the scale, it went up instead of down. And I don't mean like up a pound. It was up 5 pounds, then 10, then 20, then 25 in 2 months.
Okay, no.
Yeah, no. Exactly.
No.
Exactly, girl. Okay,
No.
I stopped getting on the scale after that because naturally, I fell, I'm shortening this, but I fell into self-blame, self-doubt, dropped out of the show, embarrassment. I heard the whispers in the gym, like, well, she's eating the donuts. And it's like, no, I wasn't eating the donuts. I was doing all the things. I was taking care of myself and my body was rebelling against me. So I did what any of us would do. I went to my doctor and I said, this is what's happening in my body. Here's what I'm eating. I showed him my diet and exercise regimen and he blew it off. Did a couple of tests and said, you're normal. I'm using air quotes for the listener. Normal. Everything is fine. Just, why don't you just try eating less and exercising more? Yeah. Okay. That was impossible at that point of time. And so I didn't stop there. I'm tenacious. So kept going. Doctor number 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 all told me that I was normal and everything was fine. Oh yeah, 6 different misdiagnoses. But you know what, Ana, I think this all the time too, and really this is a whole other message tied into the story for the listeners is how persistent do we have to be? What if we stop? What if we let what other people tell us, even well-meaning professionals in their field, what if we let what other people tell us stop us in our tracks, paralyze us, and then we give into their belief system and we literally put them on a pedestal as if we don't have a mind of our own or that we're not in tune with our own life, our own bodies, our own energy. So I knew that this was not right. I knew that my body was reacting in a way that, okay, I didn't have an answer, but I'm going to keep going until I find it. And that's what I did. I kept going, but I stepped out of the conventional medicine model, and I dipped my toe into functional medicine. At the time, it was integrative, alternative, but it was outside of that conventional standard of care model that we have still in place today. And I found someone that sat down with me for 90 minutes. Not a 5 to 7 minute visit covered by insurance.
Right.
I paid out of pocket to go see him. And I mean, I scrimped and saved and ate, ramen noodles and tuna in the pan. And I knew that this was important because my life depended on it. If he didn't have the answer, then nobody did. And he did all of a boatload of blood work, like pages and pages of blood work. And he sat there with me for an hour and a half and explained it to me. And he asked me the 4 most important words that any practitioner ever can ever ask you. How do you feel? And if you're not asked that question, it's time to go. You might as well just get up and leave and say thank you. Because if your practitioner, your doctor, your clinician does not care how you feel and treats you just like a lab value, they're not going to be able to help you. So he asked me that. He explained my labs. He put me on the right path. Oh, and by the way, I had hypothyroidism. I had it all along. And I was misdiagnosed and dismissed and told that it was literally all in my head. So functional medicine saved my life. And that's why I do today what I do. And we treat patients no different than how he treated me. We spend time with each and every one of our patients to really understand them and their body chemistry. And we ask them how they feel.
A simple question. That is such a simple question. And that could take it so many different ways. I am curious because, excuse my ignorance, what is the function of a thyroid?
Well, that's a great place to start. Very important. Very important question. Okay, so many people don't know this. And I certainly didn't at the time either. I was forced into knowing this. The thyroid is the master gland of your entire body. So I have a saying, head to toe, it runs the show. So literally from your hair growth, your eyesight, your body temperature, your heart rate, your metabolism, your ability to burn fat, put on muscle, your joints, frozen shoulder, gut, digestion, blood pressure, insulin regulation, glucose or blood sugar regulation. It's all dependent on your thyroid. So the big symptoms that we see manifest when the thyroid starts to slow down is weight gain, inability to lose weight, no matter what you do or how many diets you're on, exercise regimens, biohacking tools you throw in, constipation, low energy, brain fog, low motivation, anxiety, depression, hair loss. I mean, those are the big ones. And then we can get even, more minuscule into kind of different areas of the body. Like I mentioned, frozen shoulder. A lot of people don't think of that as related to the thyroid, but it absolutely can be.
How do you differentiate like a thyroid problem versus, let's just be honest, I'm 44 years old. It's going to be time for, the whole dreaded change. If it's not already starting. So how do you differentiate, a thyroid problem versus, like the going through perimenopause, going through menopause? How? Beautiful.
No, that's perfect. That's perfect. Well, first of all, we test, don't guess. But second, there is a phrase I just spoke on this past weekend at the Hack Your Health conference. And it's the phrase of thyropause. And my definition of thyropause is when your thyroid gland craps the bed after the age of 40 due to fluctuating hormones. So we're going to want to get you tested since you are over the age of 40. And really, here's the thing. It can be a combination. So we're going to lose hormone function. Men are going to have their testosterone levels start dropping definitely after the age of 40, if not even in their 30s. Women, we start to lose progesterone and testosterone in our 30s, definitely our 40s. And then as we move into our 40s and we move through perimenopause and menopause, our estrogen goes on a wild roller coaster ride up and down. So one day we can be estrogen dominant. The next day we're estrogen deficient, dealing with hot flashes. And that hormonal roller coaster that we really can't escape is enough to trigger thyroid dysfunction. So we see a lot of overlap. So number one, your symptoms. So if I asked you your symptoms, I would listen to them, and then I would say, Anna, those are gifts. Those are gifts given to you by, they don't feel like it, but they are, because they're telling us something is going on with your body, and they're giving us a roadmap to look deeper so that we can see what systems are associated with those symptoms. What do we need to test, and what do we need to optimize? What do we need to bring up to that optimal state? Not just normal on your standard lab value range on your blood work, not just the normal range. How can we bring you to optimal so you are functioning at your highest potential?
That's so important. There's so much that we can talk about, not to get like super personal. I don't want to get that. We'll talk off camera with that. But
we can do that. Okay. We can definitely do it.
Was one thyroid myth though that like keeps people sick, and why hasn't like the medical system done anything about it or caught up to that yet?
Oh, that's the $1 million question right there. Oh my goodness. You know, I've asked many of my colleagues, and the answer that I've received is that's literally all they were taught. So it starts with the medical schools. It starts with the fact that we're not placing enough emphasis on the master gland, and we're just not teaching proper biomechanics or proper physiology, right? We're not stressing the importance of optimization of the body. You know, medical schools have unfortunately become pharmaceutical giant run systems. And so a pill for every ill. And I'm not saying, I mean, we use thyroid hormone replacement in our clinic, and we use bioidentical hormone replacement. But the problem with the big myth, to answer your question, is that doctors are taught the standard of care for the thyroid. And it's very simple. You test something called TSH, which is thyroid stimulating hormone. And side note, that is a brain hormone. It is not a thyroid hormone. So it's actually produced by your brain, not your thyroid gland, but it will tell the thyroid gland to produce more thyroid hormone if our bodies sense that we don't have enough. So it's kind of like yelling at your kids, like, hey, Johnny, you know, pick up your toys. Johnny, pick up your toys. You're not listening. So TSH will go up as it starts to yell more at the thyroid gland to do its job. But here's the thing. By the time TSH is going up, that person has already been suffering for years, if not decades. They could have been suffering from an autoimmune condition called Hashimoto's, where antibodies literally go out and they start to destroy the thyroid. They could be suffering from low free T3, which is our active thyroid hormone, which won't necessarily reflect in the TSH until massive destruction has been done, until that person has gained 40 pounds and can't even get off the couch. Then conventional medicine will say, oh, okay, Anna, now your TSH is in the red. Now it's getting a little H next to it. So now you have hypothyroidism. Here's some T4. So this is the standard of care. Test TSH. If TSH is above a 4.5, you give T4, you pat that patient on the back, send them out the door, wish them luck. We'll test you in 6 months. Then you come back in 6 months, we only test your TSH. You still say, hey, doc, you know what? I still haven't lost that weight that I put on. I'm still dragging my butt through the day. I still can't think. I think I'm getting early Alzheimer's and I'm depressed. Well, here you go, Anna. Here's an antidepressant for you. And here's the sleeping pill for you. But nobody is stopping to test deeper to get the full picture of what your thyroid is doing.
The why. It's like they're treating the symptoms rather than treating the actual underlying issue.
Correct. Well, that's what they were taught. Now, another layer of that is, and this is, kind of conspiracy theory, kind of going down different rabbit holes, but, big pharma is really, really pushing Synthroid or T4, levothyroxine T4. Now, it's important for the listeners to know that T4 is inactive. I teach on this all the time. T4 is completely and totally inactive. So it has to become T3 in order to do anything in your body. So if you think about every single cell in your body as a 3-prong outlet, like a 3-prong receptacle outlet. And you have T4 as the 4-prong molecule trying to attach to the, not going to work. It's not going to go in. It's not going to work. It has to lose a prong to become T3 in order to fit beautifully into that outlet on your cell. When it does, electricity happens, your brain lights up, your metabolism lights up, you get to poop every day and your hair grows, right? But if you're just giving this person T4, and the T4 is like, wait, I can't convert to T3 and I can't make it into this receptor. Not going to do anything in this body, right? And that's the problem with the way that we're treating thyroid conditions in conventional medicine is if we even diagnose them when it's usually too late, then we treat the wrong way instead of treating each person like an individual and really looking at their full panel.
Absolutely. And you created an entire supplement line out of like patient need. What was the problem you were seeing over and over again?
The problem I was seeing way back in the day, before I built the clinic to be able to prescribe to all 50 states, I was seeing patients that were out of state, that were working with their doctor, and I was trying to consult with them to bring them into optimization. But we kept hitting brick walls with conventional medicine saying, no, all you need is T4. All you need is T4. So I spent about 15 years studying this molecule T2, which I call the forgotten thyroid hormone. Now, T2, as it turns out, is produced by our thyroid glands. It is very metabolically active. We can fit a 2-prong plug into a 3-prong outlet just fine.
I love your analogy.
Right? And it lights up that cell and it
sure
gives us the metabolism. It gives us energy. But T2, thank God, is not regulated by big pharma yet. And let's hope they keep it that way. So you don't have to, these patients didn't have to go back to their doctors and say, please, 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 I just want to live a best life, my best life ever. And I want to lose these extra 25 pounds that I put on. And I want to be able to make it through the day without 10 Red Bulls. And I want to be able to play with my kids and my grandkids. And I want to be able to have sex with my husband. And I want to run a successful business on my brain function. Can you please give me the right thyroid hormone? They were able to just take it in supplemental form. Now, back in the day, it was kind of in the bro science world, right? So I was telling 45-year-old women to buy this bottle that had like an angry gorilla on it with like claws going down. I'm like, just trust me, just do it, just take it. Well, the ones that did, you know, even though they looked at me like I had 5 heads, they trusted me and they tried it. And we were seeing amazing weight loss, energy coming back, lives being changed. Even when these women were stuck on T4 only that wasn't working, we were seeing their bodies shift without undesirable side effects, without the typical, you know, whenever we think of fat burner supplements, we think of back in the day of like the ephedra caffeine where we all like damn near had heart attacks and you would just feel like uncomfortable and jittery and anxious. There wasn't a stimulant. There's not a stimulating effect of T2. There's no cardiovascular effect with T2. There's really no side effects that we're seeing in all the years, in the 30 years of research on T2, the 15 years of research that I've been doing on it. There's really no negative side effects. And in fact, one study actually says that, like the next answer to obesity without undesirable side effects. I'm like, boom, mic drop. I'll just stop my talk right here and leave you with this. But no, it's a miraculous molecule that is available over the counter. So that was first. I knew I had to bring this to the masses. And that's what inspired me to launch Thyroid-Fixer and Metabolism-Fixer. And then all of the rest of the brand was built around what we see in the practice, from low testosterone levels in females, insulin resistance and dysregulated blood glucose, low vitamin D, low magnesium, the low cofactors for T4 to T3 conversion and for thyroid hormone production. So it kind of built all around that.
Wow. Well, like what happens so when someone finally has their like thyroid and hormones like optimized? What changes first actually?
So I always say, join me in optimization land. It's a place where, number one, you don't gain weight looking sideways at a brownie. You can actually live life. I am by no means perfect. I can't stand IG influencers that are like, I'm perfect and eat a ribeye 5 times a day and that's it. I don't touch a carb. Like, come on. Like, let's be real, right? Like, no. I like a glass of wine. I like my sweet potato fries. I even like an Oreo cookie once in a while. Okay. So I want to be able to not treat my body like a garbage dump, but I want to be able to enjoy life here and there and not worry about, or go on vacation and not worry about coming home and having to go on a diet because now I'm 10 pounds heavier. Right. So that's a great place to be where you can actually enjoy life, where you're confident getting dressed. There was a time where when I was going through those misdiagnoses, I quit my social life and I was only in my 20s, but I was telling my friends like, no, I don't want to go out because that means I have to put on something that's tight that I'm not comfortable in. And I don't feel comfortable in my own skin. Like this isn't even me. And then I have to muster up energy to go out and I don't want to. I want to sit on the couch like at 8 o'clock. And like now I'm good with laying on the couch at like 8 or 9 watching Netflix. But in my 20s, like, come on, I got to get out. I got to get out. Social. Did not want to. So when you come into that optimized state, life just gets better. And like I mentioned at the very beginning, you make money. I've spoken to entrepreneur groups before and it's like that's the hook, right? Like you're going to make more money. That's not a lie. When your thyroid and your hormones, your sex hormones, your progesterone, testosterone, and estrogen, mainly testosterone, that's the big driver of motivation and brain function. When everything is optimized, you function at a much higher level. You just do. Like you come up with these ideas at 6 a.m. that you start texting your assistant about and driving her crazy. Like, I got a great idea. This is going to make $1 million. And it really does happen that way because and when you feel confident too, you're like, let's conquer the world today.
Absolutely.
Let's kick some ass today.
Right.
But that is true when it comes to your thyroid and hormones and them being optimized.
So there's hope. That's so refreshing for, to actually.
There's a lot of hope. There's a lot of hope.
Oh, that's so great. Well, tell everybody how they can find you and get help from you.
Absolutely. So you can go to dramie.com, DRAMIE.com. And on there, you can click become a patient. If you're looking to work with us, like I said, we prescribe to all 50 states, most of Canada and Mexico and Puerto Rico. And then on there too, you can click on shop and go right over to the Fixer formula supplement line. Thyroid-Fixer and Metabolism-Fixer both contain T2 that we talked about today. If you want to go deeper and learn more about T2 and just even learn more about your thyroid and hormones, you can also go over to the Thyroid-Fixer podcast, subscribe to that, and go ahead and binge listen. I promise you will learn a ton. And what you learn on there, you can implement in your life right now.
I love it, Dr. Amie. Thank you so much for being on the show. And everybody listening, watching, wherever you are, please, if you like this content, like, share, and subscribe. And I hope that you enjoy. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of Partnerships for Profit. We hope you've gained valuable insights on how to form profitable partnerships and take your business to the next level. Be sure to subscribe and leave us a review wherever you listen to podcasts so you never miss an episode. Got a partnership story to share or someone you'd like to see featured on the show? Reach out to us. Until next time, keep building those partnerships for profit.